Well, hello, and greetings, friends. We are back with another exciting episode of BEI Live. So I'm so excited because I get to be here with all of my business partners and friends, Mr. Cedric LaFleur,
Hello.
Angela Hooper Manyfield,
Well, hello, everyone.
and none other than Dr. Nicole Rankin.
No. Oh my gosh.
Not with
Somebody
the
had a
sound.
good day today, apparently.
Hey everyone.
So you can see Dr. Nick is real excited today. So friends, you guys know what we're all about. And here at BEI, we're all about elevating the mindset and the money of Black and minority entrepreneurs. And, as such, we thought it would be important to highlight that today, October 12th, is National Savings Day. And interestingly enough, National Savings Day was actually founded by Capital One, and the registrar at the National Day calendar proclaimed National Savings Day to be observed beginning annually October 17th. Now, as I thought about National Savings Day, when you look across the financial landscape, what you see is that experts many times they'll recommend that individuals save up to 15% of their annual income to fund a viable retirement. But with pensions all but a distant memory for most Americans, the burden of savings today, and not just savings but also investing, is really on individuals. And guys, as I looked at it, according to data from the National Institute on Retirement Security, the retirement savings of more than 75% of Americans fall short of what is needed, and more than 1/5 of Americans are not saving at all. Can you believe that? Like 1/5, that means one in every five people, 20% of people are not even saving. And the reality is that some of this actually has to do with wage disparity. Matter of fact, the EPI, which is the Economic Policy Institute, they did a wage report and it shows that Black workers made 14% less than their Caucasian counterparts in 2019. And that is actually a significant increase from the 10.2% in 2002. And, while race is a big factor in wage inequality, gender exacerbates the gap even further. The average woman in the US earned 81.6 cents to every dollar men earned in 2019. And when you look at the gender gap, the gender wage gap, it's even wider for women of color. In fact, Black women in 2018 were paid 62% of what non-Hispanic white men were paid. So I just thought I would drop in and share that. So tell me, Angela and Nicole and Cedric, as you hear me sort of talk about this National Savings Day and this wage gap, what thoughts come to mind about closing the savings gap and what you're seeing?
Yeah, so this is always an interesting topic, but the first thing that I would do is change the word savings and get rid of that, and change that to invest or investing, right? Because savings is telling people to go to a bank, and hey, there's nothing wrong with banks, and people may believe in banks. I'm not the one who tell people to go put their money in a bank, because the only one that's making money in a bank is the bank.
Right.
So invest your money, right? And there's a lot of different ways to invest your money. And even when you say the word investing, it means something different than saving, right? So that's the first thing that I would do. And 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. And that's just because we haven't developed the discipline to giving up small things today so we can have greater things tomorrow. 67% of Americans retire into poverty. You know what that means? That we're going to work 30 or 40 years at a company, and then we're going to retire broke. And we'll be greeters at that famous store. Right. And that's a big problem. But it starts with normally everybody wants to blame everybody else and everything else for that situation. It starts with personal accountability, and personal accountability starts with financial literacy first.
I love that. Nicole, what would you say?
Yeah, I kind of think on the lines of what Cedric would say. I think one of the biggest problems that we have is generational. So we have to kind of break those generational cycles and generational mindset that we have surrounding money. So I would say to close the gap, it would be more of education and financial literacy, but starting younger, like teaching our young children about what attitudes to have towards money, teaching them how to, as Cedric said, invest and how to properly use money and gain money at a younger age so we can start to break those cycles that we have seen in the past with the mindset of money. And that leads to the gaps that we're seeing now. So I think for me, it's about that educational piece, but starting at a younger age, right? There's so many studies and to show that with that financial literacy piece, you can improve savings, get out of debt, and teach people how to earn multiple streams of income. But doing that at a younger age, I think it's going to be critical.
Yeah, I kind of co-sign everything Nicole and Cedric have said. And even as they were talking and my mind was thinking, I was like, I started to ask myself, what led me to save? What led me to invest, as Cedric said? What led me to do some of those things? And, it was a learned behavior. My father worked for a steel mill, so he was a union employee, and the union went on strike one year. And, nobody thought it was going to last a really long time, right? It was like, they'll be on strike, this or that happened. They ended up staying on strike, I think, and I could be wrong, but it was at least 6 months. And so while the union was able to give them some supplemental things, and some of the local grocery stores were, giving food vouchers, what my father was like was, hey, this is impeding my ability to take care of my family. And he had savings. And I think up until that point, he'd always, tried to save, 3 to 6 months. But from that day moving forward, he was like a year minimum. He was like, because you just never know. And so live through that as a child, is seeing it, hearing, the conversation, and how so many other people didn't even make, like they weren't making it. At 3 months, things were falling apart. That was an impetus for me to not want to be that person. So I say all that to say, sales of recognition. I think culturally, even though the pay gaps are there and all those other things, we're really comfortable with not having. We make jokes about it, right? Oh, being poor, them folks don't know nothing about poor. I'll tell you about poor, right? Like we think we gotta, we own it. And so it's a mindset thing as well. And so whether it's, how when somebody died, we ain't got insurance, like the list goes on and on, right? I saw that as norms for a long time in my life as well. So Nicole said start younger. So I think we got to start showing people something different. We even sit down with our grandson and just open up our investment account. So like, look how much money we have. Like we want him to see that that's possible. He knows how much money we make and everything. He'll tell you. He's 11 years old. Whereas a lot of people don't want to talk about money. So too, we got to get comfortable with money and money conversations. So that's what I would just add to the two things that Cedric and Nicole have already said.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, Angela, it's funny. I co-sign on that last part of what you said also, because I knew growing up, my family never talked about money. Money issues were like for the adults. So they never showed us, they never taught us anything about balancing a checkbook or anything, any of those functions. So, in the absence of information, you just do what you thought you saw. And so I think it's really important that we actually start having conversations with our families around the dinner table, around the family reunions, to start talking about money. Because we get together, we talk about everything else. We'll talk about sports, we'll talk about the news, we'll talk about politics. But for some reason in our community, it's like money is like a taboo subject. Nobody talks about it. And until we start taking the stigma of talking about money away, I don't know that we're going to be able to see any meaningful progress. So
right, yeah. So while we were talking, I went and pulled up the definition of savings and investing. And here, listen how it sounds. right? Savings, the money one has saved, especially through a bank or an investment plan, an economy of or reduction in money, time, or resources. Now, investing, expend money with the expectation of achieving a profit or material result by putting it into financial plans, shares, property, or by using it to develop commercial ventures. See, they totally mean something totally different,
Mm-hmm.
right? And investing is taking it, we talk about it, taking people to another level. That's what investing is about. And, in today's market, you don't need thousands and thousands of dollars to do it. You can start with $10,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's a mindset thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. Those definitions are really night and day. And, start small, because I think it really is about developing the habit. Because once you develop the habit of accumulating money, then it becomes a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
So anyway, so thanks for that. That was really rich discussion. I'm really, really excited because as we shared, the next Connect and Collab is on the book. So audience, I want you to save the date right now. It will be Saturday, December 11th. We're going to host it from 10 to 12 Eastern time. For those of you in the great state of Texas, that would be 9 to 11 Central time.
We're a great country of Texas.
The great country.
Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. You know how those Texans are.
I know those
Deep
those
in
Texans.
the heart of Texas.
So guys, the link to enroll is on the screen. You could go ahead and start enrolling now. Remember that sharing is caring, because we want you to be there. Now, if you happen to miss the last event, let me just set some expectations for you. You can expect to make quality connections at Connect and Collab. You can expect to hear inspiring messages at Connect and Collab. You can expect to have fun as well as entertainment. Matter of fact, at our last event, we had a couple of amazing spoken word pieces from the artist Monica Harrison, and they just blew the entire room away. And so you just never know what we have up our sleeve. We just know that we've got some things in the works and some plans. So mark the date. It's Saturday, December 11th from 10 to 12 Eastern time, 9 to 11 at the great state of Texas. I'm sorry, the great country of Texas, Central time. And just remember that Connect and Collab is all about making quality connections in a collaborative atmosphere. So, but don't take my word for it. Take Angela's word for it. So, Angela, why would you say our audience should attend Connect and Collab?
Well, one reason just because you get to meet your international friends from Texas, right? Like from the other countries. It's the fact that our community is so diverse, right? That in of itself is a reason. Because when you get to interact with people from Texas, it is literally like from the other part of the world. So yes, come to Connect and Collab. Okay, I'll quit messing with Cedric. It's actually pretty fun. I know someone personally, for instance, who told me they got 5 business leads from our last Connect and Collab. So that in alone of itself, you want to grow your business, you want to figure out how to network and meet people you may not meet all the time, come to Connect and Collab.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Dr. Nick,
yeah.
What would you say?
I would agree with. I think I like the fun networking aspect of it, because you meet so many people, different people at Connect and Collab, and you don't know who knows who, right? So you're having these conversations about your businesses and talking about issues, talking about problems, talk about things that people do, and you're like, oh, I need that, or oh, I know somebody that. So it's the camaraderie that you get in these types of environments, and it's just amazing. The people that we've had so far, we're moving on to, I think this is our 4th one, and it has been amazing. The people have been awesome, and just connecting with like-minded people. Like, I've attended business events where it's just we pass the business cards. It's like a contest to see how many cards you can collect at the end of the night. And after that, it's really nothing that happens. But truly Connect and Collab is about action, taking action, really going in with people who are intentional about making valuable connections. So I love it. It's a great thing that was started. And we looking to go higher with all entertainment. Like we got entertainment, we got the spoken word. I mean, you don't go to networking events like that.
Right on.
Yeah, Connect and Collab.
And Mr. LaFleur, what would you add, sir?
Yeah, no, Angela and Dr. Nick really summed it all up. My message is to people, they need to start taking their financial life a lot more serious. I hope that COVID-19 was a wake-up call for most people. I know this is not necessarily about Connect and Collab, but y'all got me fired up around this topic. You know how I am around this. So you just need to attend Connect and Collab. That's all I'll say.
So you can see the link is down there scrolling across the screen. Go there and go ahead and register now and share it. Invite a friend, bring someone and come to Connect and Collab. All right.
Damian, before we get started, I want to say, although we are celebrating National Savings Day, today is a national day too, because today is National Dr. Nick's birthday. I just want to say that. I just want to put that in there. I'm just saying.
Well, happy birthday, Dr. Nick.
Yeah. Happy birthday. I would sing, but my voice is not tuned up yet.
Oh, yeah. Stay in your lane.
All right. So you can see it. We just love to have fun. We love doing these shows, and we love being with you, coming into your home or on your mobile device, wherever you are. But for our show today, we have an incredible guest. And I just love that we get to share some of the most incredible entrepreneurs with our audience. And I can tell you that today you are going to be blessed by our guest. So her name is Tiffani Sims, and she's the owner and CEO of Diversity Talent Scouts, LLC. Now, Tiffani is a native of Detroit, Michigan, and she has over 16 years of experience in talent acquisition with a focus on diversity and inclusion. Tiffani is fanatical about shifting the complexion of talent and listening to internal and external conversations on how she can leverage her platform to be impactful and valuable to our diverse-driven community. As a natural competitor, she always loved being a part of a team. Therefore, she truly understands the importance of belonging and how no one should ever feel excluded. Diversity Talent Scouts is a boutique search provider located in Chevronton, Wyoming, and is part of the human resources consulting industry. DTS works with companies of all sizes, specializing in providing diverse IT, engineering, fintech staffing professionals to businesses serving all functional areas. Now, in addition to staffing, DTS also offers diversity coaching and mentoring leadership on diversity and inclusion. And while building out a long-term strategy based on the company's goals and initiatives, she does that both internally and externally. Now, what makes DTS unique in their approach and techniques is their ability to provide top talent through their diverse network of professionals in a timely manner and caring for each client based on their specialized needs. Tiffani has a core belief that alone I am strong, but together we are mighty. So friends and audience, help me welcome to the BEI live show, Tiffani Sims.
Hello. Thank you so much.
Hey, Tiffani, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Love the introduction. I feel famous.
You are. So as a fellow HR person, I would love to kick off this conversation. I already said, she's got to be on our podcast, but that's for another conversation. So I want to start the conversation off and just walk us through your journey just a little bit. So tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe share something that your bio may not have touched on that you'd really like for us to know about you.
Sure. So initially when I wanted to go to college, I wanted to go for interior decorating. I was all set. I was like, interior decorating. My mom said, no, you're going to school for human resource management. I didn't know what it was, but I knew I was getting out the house, so I accepted it. So my very first internship, once again, just trying to get my credits to make it through college. It was at a DECO, at a staffing agency, and I fell in love with staffing. And I mainly fell in love with staffing because of the interchanging of people. It was never the same, the constant movement. I am all about that flow of having some progression to the end of my day. I like to check things off. I'm a note checker all day. So I found out that there's other umbrellas under human resource management. And in my opinion, being a human resource manager, it's like being a principal at a school. You only see the bad kids who has grown up to adults at this point. So I had no interest in being a human resource manager, but every interest in staying into the talent acquisition field. So I had my first opportunity to work for a corporate company, ITT, which is now known as Xylem. And while working for them, they have defense contracts. So while working for them, they said, we don't have enough diversity professionals. And so I was like, oh, that's great. In my mind, they're really caring about this, right? But come to find out, now looking back, actually the government requires a certain amount of diverse individuals on your leadership team. But at that time, they made me responsible for their D&I initiatives. So I'm doing these initiatives, not knowing that honestly, all we were doing was a lip service. There was no true measurements behind it, but it looked good. Going to SWE events, it just looked good, right? Going to NSBE events, it looked great. We had it on we shared it with the board, the different events we went to, but we truly were not making any type of true progress towards diversity, but it just looked good. And it was great to say. So that's when I realized that I don't fit in because that's not what I wanted to do. I wasn't accomplishing anything. And my life is built around progression. So at that time, I had the opportunity to go into different types of fields on the agency side. And so I said, after enough is enough. And I was tired of being the face for the race because for the most part, within talent acquisition, I was the only African-American female. I want to open my own. So I decided to dive and take a leap off of faith and just start my own executive search firm. So I started and I loved it. But I did not understand the importance of growth. I didn't have any type of leadership, any type of mentorship to truly understand what growth looks like, what it means to build out a business. So unfortunately, I had to divest, go back to corporate. I learned over the time what it meant to grow, how it meant to grow, the importance of a network, importance of surrounding yourself with individuals that actually wanted you to grow and embrace growth. And I reopened. So we just reopened 2019 as Diversity Talent Scouts. And I opened with the idea of building a community around diverse professionals.
I love it. I love it. You said so much I could dig into, but I'm only going to say one thing and then pass it on. And that is, one, I salute you for not wanting to be a part of the check the box era is what I call it. I worked for government for a minute too. That's another conversation as well. But the other thing I love is your journey. You know, our community we're really here trying to serve entrepreneurs, and how you shared how there are some other things that you have to know to really grow a business. And if you don't get those things, sometimes that means you got to pull back, kind of start over, reset the table, and jump back into it. So congratulations on the journey. And we're so glad to have you here and have you in your second iteration of your talent acquisition business.
Thank you.
Awesome, Tiffani. That's definitely an inspiring story, just the transition that you have made. Because even in our boot camp, we tell people solve a problem. And you saw a problem, right? And you wanted to be that solution. So as you were going through your process, your entrepreneur journey, you saw a problem, went to solve it, then saw you needed some things, went back and came back. So thinking about your journey, like what is the biggest challenge that you're facing with your business now, coming from where you started from, and how are you overcoming it?
The biggest challenge, I'm sure you all are aware of, is the COVID challenge. Out of my 16 plus years of recruiting, I have never had such a challenge in finding talent like the challenge I'm having now. And that's mainly because of the lack of understanding of the environment we are in. We are in an environment where individuals are not as willing to relocate as they once were. They're not as willing to leave their stable position as they once were. And there's so many factors that play into that, from taking care of ailing parents or parents that are getting older, their children being in their last years of high school, them just feeling to me, COVID has put in instilled a fear of what's next into people, that they don't even realize that fear of what that could look like. But then the beautiful opportunity to work from home. I mean, who wants to go into an office anymore? And so either you're not wanting to go into an office, or you're looking for that hybrid type of environment. And a lot of companies are just not willing to budge on what that looks like, and importance of shifting their mindset and realizing that millennials are not into going into offices. They feel like they can do just as much, if not more, from home. So how I'm adjusting to that is by educating the managers I'm speaking with, leadership I'm speaking with, on the importance of understanding that this environment that we work in needs flexibility. They need flexibility. They're not looking to spend, you don't have that, my mother's a baby boomer. So you don't have those baby boomers who spend years at one employee, right? If you get 2 to 3 years out of an employee, you should consider yourself to be fortunate. So, you get a lot of managers who say, I'm looking for someone who's been with the same company for 5 to 10 years. That's not where we are. No. So that educating managers and trying to make sure they understand the importance of shifting and getting unlearned is what I like to call it, because what you once knew is no longer. So you need to unlearn that and learn something new.
Yeah, that's actually an awesome statement that you just said, because Gallup has a lot of data around exactly what you just said around, millennials and the Gen Zers are not willing to stay with companies as long, especially if the company doesn't match with their purpose, their passion, right? So we have a 8-week boot camp, and one of our topics is finding your niche. You have a clearly defined niche. And on your website, it says diversity focused and minority owned search firm, right? So how did you narrow down your niche to that market segment?
That's so, I love that you asked me that question, because I see all these search firms that say diversity, right? You see it almost everywhere because it's a buzzword, right? It gets people talking, it gets them interested. It's a word that is going to probably get you business. But this is what I've come to realize in my first company where I failed at, is that diversity is large within itself. So if you don't focus on one thing, you will focus on nothing. So opposed to me taking on diversity, all of diversity.
Wait, can you stop right there? Say that part again. Because I need people to hear what you just said. If you don't focus on one thing, say that part again.
Yes,
please.
if you don't focus on one thing, you will focus on nothing.
Yeah.
And so therefore I had to realize that diversity is so large that I can't focus on it all to be successful right now. Not at this point. Not to say it's not possible, but right now it's unrealistic. So to make it realistic, I decided to stay in 2 areas, which is people of color and women. So we are vested in seeing black and brown faces in new places. That's what we're vested in. So that's what we hone in on, is making sure we stay in our lane as well.
I absolutely love that. That's awesome. So this part of the interview, folks, I want you to just to rewind it and rewind it and rewind it and hear it so that it sinks in, especially for entrepreneurs. It's important that you understand that part. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Tiffani, as one of the things that I've loved about your business model is I love great taglines, and I really love yours. Your tagline is, "We don't post and pray, we hunt and deliver. And so, with that in mind, I'd love to hear if you have a guiding philosophy for business and even for entrepreneurship.
What I've learned over my 39 years, right, of life and entrepreneurship is consistency is key. And that consistency is so hard, but not only consistency, but discipline, right? So when you're consistent and you're disciplined at the same time, then you can make so many great measures. So when I say, and I talk about millennials, and I know you're thinking 39, don't you fit in there somewhere? Not really. I'm sure I was born in a wrong year. I'm so sure of it. Because I don't believe in sitting back and waiting. I hear individuals, they will come up to me and while I worked in talent acquisition and say, why they didn't consider me for that position? I should have been next in line. Did you apply for the position? No. Did you tell your manager you wanted the position? No. What did you do to earn the position? Because nothing is given to you, but everything is earned, right? So therefore, did you go out there and actively seek after the position? Because if you didn't, no one is just walking around giving away things. So posting and praying is just sitting back. I'm never going to sit back. I'm always going to go after what I want, right? And these applicants, it's such a passive environment that I'm calling into companies. I'm calling your cell phone. You're asking me, how did you get my number? Don't worry about that. Looking for a new opportunity.
See,
So I have a whole research team that literally goes after individuals' information, email address, work email, phone number, and we are calling every single person we have ability to call. So we are hunting you out because we want to deliver. And then what's really crazy is that what you would expect from a diversity and type of search firm, and what my goal is to create a community of individuals. So we're not always going to market for every single position. What I would prefer to do is send this position out to this community, and then you all refer someone, because we are building bridges. That's the point of it. That's our whole goal, is to build bridges. I don't want to have to go hunting every single time. What I would like for you to say is, hey, I'm not interested, but maybe somebody in my community is. So in order for us to make that happen is that we have to go out there and we have to do something different. This is not the regular search where you're just looking on Monster, looking on Career Builder, waiting for people to come to you. You go after them. I hope that answers your question.
Wow, that's powerful. Like I didn't understand initially the tagline,
Okay,
but now I totally get it. We don't post and pray, we hunt and deliver. So that lion,
yes.
I love it. Okay, I love it.
Brian 365. Did I say that? Just to drop a little advertisement in there. So what has been your most satisfying moment in business to date?
To date, my most satisfying measure would definitely have to be putting in place some KPIs, key performance indicators. I want to make sure I'm saying acronyms that everyone understands. Some KPIs to show if we are making those actionable, measurable moments. And so before, I was just out here winging it, right? If I place someone, I place someone. Oh, well, it is what it is. But then I had the opportunity to join a great group, Amp Up. And then I also am a part of an additional group, an EO group, that allowed me to realize the importance of measuring your progress. So we have a 33% goal of placing diversity, and currently we're at 85% at placing diversity. So every single time we place a diverse individual, we let the company know where our goal was, and we provided you with 60% diverse applicants, which increases the opportunity and the chances of growing our diversity leadership teams.
That's great. The quote, what does it say? What you measure is what, you pay attention to, or what grows and so you're spot on. Leaders often, they always say, well, I want my team to do this, or this is what I want my business to do, even if it's financial goals for your business, but having something that you're going to target and measure and pay attention to. So I think that's fantastic that you've done that.
Thank you.
So I'll go ahead and go here and ask you this question. And before I ask that question, though, I want to make a statement. You know, something you were talking earlier, and you're talking about your journey through this diverse world in terms of careers. And I remember receiving a call from one of our corporate HR reps one time and said, Cedric, I'm trying to understand, how do you find all of these diverse candidates and we can't find them? And, you know, we had a whole long conversation. We don't have time today for it, but we had a whole long conversation. And I reached out to one of our corporate presidents, and he said, Cedric, here's what they have to understand. He goes, keep doing what you're doing. He says, but what they have to understand is that we're a large company and we can find and not find anybody we want to. And if you are actively searching for versus searching to eliminate, then you'll find the diverse candidates that you need. And that's where organizations, I think, go wrong.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I definitely agree.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I definitely would agree. And, you know, people get it confused that diversity is the right thing to do, but diversity is the smart thing to do. So how you go about taking on diversity is something totally different than going about saying diversity.
Right.
And you know, it just totally blows my mind when I hear some leadership says it's just not enough diversity applicants out there. Excuse me? We have 107 HBCUs. What do you mean? Let's talk about that graduation rate, right? So when I hear people say things like that, that just tells me that you're just not going to the proper places of where diversity is. Because we have to realize that just like you go to certain places and certain clubs to get what you're looking for, diversity is the same thing. Right. So are you a part of those initiatives, those clubs, those organizations? Do you know what Jack and Jill is and what it looks like? Because we have to start at the bottom and grow that up, right? If you're truly looking for some diversity. So are we educating our team on what diversity is and how to find diversity and what it looks like to build a diverse community? That's totally different than having these focus groups in these organizations that sit around a table and talk about diversity. And the majority of the focus groups aren't typically diverse. So you're making up all these plans. You're planning this great party, and we're not even a part of it. And you want to invite us to it. Right. It's for us, right? We should be there helping you plan.
Exactly. Yes. So Tiffani, you know, success leaves clues, right? Can you share with our audience one key thing that you do routinely that has led to success in your business?
Definitely. What's very important to me is starting my week off with understanding what my week looks like, understanding my goals, my financial goals, my people goals, with understanding the strategy and the core values of who we are. So every Monday we have a Monday huddle, and understanding if my team is happy. Right. So we have to make sure that we're providing not only ourselves, but our teams with the goals, the tools to be successful. But success also looks like taking care of yourself. Now, that's something I'm working on because I'm horrible at it. But self-care is so important. And to mentally free yourself, to read a book, to listen to a book. If you don't have time to read, because I'm that girl. I don't have time to read, but I will listen all day. Mm-hmm. So making sure that you're putting success into yourself in order to get success out, right? So you cannot expect new things to come out of your brain if you're not putting new things into your brain. Yeah. So making sure you're surrounding yourself as well with successful people. So in what I do, my routine of success looks like making sure that I'm incorporating and learning and around people that's smarter than me, because I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. That means I haven't made it.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I love that. I just love that. I just love your mindset, Tiffani.
Thank
you. You know, I'm always interested to get a sense for the thought process of successful entrepreneurs. So let me toss this. It might be a little bit of a curveball at you, but if you had an extra $100,000 available in your budget right now, an extra, right? How would you spend it and why?
Does that exist? The extra? You know what my extra will be spent on is branding. I have not done my due diligence with branding because when you have a business like this, you are a brand within your business. So it's definitely spent on branding and making awareness to who we are and what our goals are. So I would definitely go with some branding. I would go with also what's near and dear to my heart are my retirees. And I believe I heard one of you saying you don't want to be a greeter at Walmart, but I believe that our retirees are so useful in so many ways. So I would love to create some type of platform or even some type of initiative that keeps them in the loop as technology grows and allows them even part-time to work for some smaller type of businesses. That's just near and dear to my heart. And that's probably because of my mom, because I refuse to let her be a Walmart greeter. Um, so that's something that I would do with the money as well. But I think the most important thing that I would do is just making sure, and my goal is to build generational wealth. And I'm sure you've heard that I don't want to be rich, I want to be wealthy. I'm talking about I want my legacy. I want to be remembered for a legacy and not for a reason. So that I definitely will put the money towards making sure that that legacy is intact.
Wow, I love it.
That's awesome. Awesome. She's dropping golden nuggets,
All the way around.
golden
Thank
nuggets.
you.
It's amazing. Your journey's amazing. Your story's amazing. I love your passion. We can sense your passion about what you do, and that's just wonderful. You know, Tiffani, every quarter BEI hosts a networking event for entrepreneurs called Connect and Collab, and we do it because we understand the value of relationships. And I imagine that in your industry, in your field, you know, building and maintaining relationship is kind of like the pillar of your business models. As you said, you're going out and you're hunting, you're calling people up, you finding ways to get their number, you know, so you can establish those relationships. So can you share your perspective on relationship building and just give us a couple of strategies of how you leverage that in regards to your business and business growth?
Okay, that's a great question. I want to be very transparent with you all to let you know that building a diverse community is so difficult. I had no idea that it would be this hard. I just knew that we would all embrace each other and we would be singing Kumbaya in a circle. But it has not worked out like that at all.
Wow.
It's like pulling teeth to get individuals to actually help each other. So what I've done to help encourage and embrace those relationships is that transparency, that follow through of checking up on people, giving people their flowers while they're here. All of those things are so important to building relationships. To letting people know I care about you regardless if you get this position with me or not. I care about you. I want to know what's going on. What do you need from me? And those relationships may not be beneficial right now, but they could be beneficial later on down the line. So that looks like me reaching out. That looks like me redoing your child's resume for you. That looks like me just checking up on you and seeing how you're doing. That looks like me. Also, one thing one of my mentors told me, he said, you want to be interested and not interesting. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you want to talk less and listen more. So asking those open-ended questions to get to know people, understand where they're coming from, all of that is about building relationships. And so for me, that looks like daily emails, weekly emails, monthly, just checking in with you. But that's so difficult in the day and age we live in, right? Because people are busy. And we live in this instant gratification, microwave type of era. Right? They want things fast, quick, and in a hurry. They don't have time to talk to you. They don't have time to say much to you. So it's about carving out that time. And even if they don't have time for you, you want to make sure they know that you made time for them. So you make time for what's important. So that's very vital for me in my business.
Yes.
I like that a lot. So we like to kind of break it up a little bit. I know we've talked a lot about your business, but now we're going to get a little bit more into Tiffani.
Okay.
So Tiffani,
Yes.
if there was a book that was written about you, what would be the title and what would be written in the description?
So the title would be, probably be, you build, run your household like you run a business. And the description would talk about the importance of putting priorities first, of understanding that a business is only as good as what's put into it, and so is your family. And it will talk about the importance of being balanced. And that balance to me is always broken up into 5 areas, which includes financial, spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical balance.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Very good. All right.
Yes. When is the book coming out? That's it.
Well, that's not coming out yet, but I do have a plug to put in that a book called Act Like a Hiring Manager, Think Like a Recruiter is coming your way.
I like it.
Okay. One more time, Tiffani.
Act like a hiring manager and think like a recruiter is coming their way.
Awesome. Well, Tiffani, I just can't believe how fast the time has gone. And really, we might have to have you back for a part 2 because I just know there's so much more to be uncovered. So tell us, how can our audience learn more about you and stay connected with you and follow you?
Definitely. So we're on all 4 forms of social media: LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. DiversityTalentScouts.com. And then also you can always email me at Tiffani@DiversityTalentScouts.com. Check out our website as well. Be a part of our community. Tell a friend, tell a brother, tell a nephew, tell everyone that we are looking for diversity allies, which are individuals that's looking to join us in building a diverse community.
That's so awesome. And so, Tiffani, I just want to give you just a quick 45 seconds to look into our audience, because our audience is largely entrepreneurs, Black and brown minority entrepreneurs. One key nugget for entrepreneurial success. Take it away.
Don't give up. It's hard. It's not easy. And if you say that, if you're working and you're saying that I'm slaving away and it's not paying off, do something different. Do not give up. Believe in yourself and keep on going. Consistency is the key. So just don't give up. I really value the point of praying, of making everything a matter of prayer, but acting on those prayers, because those prayers are only words until you make them into actions.
Wow. Nothing but gold. Well, Tiffani, you have been phenomenal. I want to thank you for joining us today. I mean, geez, I think I'm going to have to replay this and listen to it again myself. There's so many nuggets. And as far as Diversity Talent Scouts go, we're wishing you nothing but much success.
Thank you. I appreciate you all, and I loved meeting each and every one of you.
I'll be in touch because I'm going to have you on the podcast. I do an HR podcast. I'll call you.
Oh, I would love it. Okay. Bye.
Thanks, Tiffani. Okay. All right. So, Angela, you want to take us home? Any final closing thoughts from our HR aficionado?
So, if you want a good business, have good people, right? And I have no doubt Tiffani would say the same thing. And sometimes how you get there is through growth, leadership development. Like I said, from the very beginning, I just loved how she said, I tried this. Didn't work. So I went back, got some more experience and some knowledge, and then came back again. And now it just seems like she's doing a great job. And so, that's what we try to do for entrepreneurs with our boot camp. And so we just started a new boot camp last week. But nonetheless, there are some of you who are watching this, and 2021 was not your best year for whatever reason. And it doesn't matter. It's in the past. But the question I would ask you, what are you going to do moving forward? I have a suggestion. If you're really looking to take your business to that next level, if you really want to be around people who care as much about your business, if not more, probably sometimes, then join us in the next boot camp. You can always enroll. Enrollment is open, even though the next boot camp does not start to January. You'll hear us talking more about that. But that would be my final word, that don't look at what's happened this year and use it as an indicator of what could happen next year.
Right on. Well, friends, that's the show for tonight. Angela, wonderful words of wisdom. You can change the trajectory. All you got to do is make one quality decision. So with that, we want to thank you for being with us today. Stick around for the other programming that's coming. And until next time, bye for now, friends.
Peace.
Bye.
Go invest.
Stay out of the country.